Good morning, world. This is Coach Tara coming to you this morning. When I first decided to do this live this morning, I was thinking of what I was talking about yesterday, that 5 second time frame that we have to make action on opportunities. And it got me thinking because I'm sitting here reading a book here. I'm reading, let me see if I can pick it up and still show you because I don't have The Secret Language of Money. And it's fantastic, and I just got into it, and I've been reading it every morning a little bit before I start my day. And it reminded me of what I was talking about yesterday, about how opportunities are all around us. However, most of us, we wait that 5 seconds. So what does that mean? And what does that say about us? It says something a lot about procrastination. Now, I know for a fact that we all procrastinate on some level. There is rarely a person, and I could just imagine what it would be like being around a person that was constantly making decisions really quickly and moving fast. And I thought a lot about that. That would be a little odd, wouldn't it? I mean, wouldn't you feel that way? Maybe you would. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you do know somebody like that, or maybe you are somebody like that. However, most of us have some level of procrastination in ourselves, and sometimes we even use our action as our excuse. And I did talk about that yesterday too, like, oh, I got to get the dishes done, but you also have like 30 minutes left to invite people to your presentation. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to wait until after the presentation to get your dishes done, or you're going to do those dishes right now? I read a little short paragraph in here, and I want you all to think about this for a second, because I think it really explains what procrastination really is, and how it relates to each of us as individuals, and each of us have a very different take on it. Let me go ahead and read it to you. When we see someone sitting in first class on an airplane, do we see it as fruits of greed or accomplishment? As a reward for hard work, or a windfall of an undeserved good fortune? The answer depends on our story. Let that sink in for a minute. Just for a second. Let me put the book down. Let me grab a sip of my coffee. Okay, here I am. What does that mean? Wow. It just occurred to me, because I know at different points in my life, when I was really, really broke and I saw someone doing really, really well, the first thing I would be freaked out about would be, but I'm doing all the right things. I'm working really hard. Why don't I have this? And blah, 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 blah. And I know a lot of us feel like that from time to time in our lives. Now, when I see somebody, enjoying the fruits of their labor, I don't automatically assume it's because they're greedy, or they took it from somebody, or they took advantage of somebody, or anything like that. So as that relates to procrastination, when we are faced with an opportunity that we know in our heart of hearts could make dramatic changes in our lives, when we hesitate on those and we let those opportunities pass us by, it has to do with our story. It has to do with what we think about how things are. And what we believe things are supposed to be. So, when we think about procrastination, when we think about when we don't go after something that we want, or when we hesitate just that little extra long, and we don't take action, and we're actually reinforcing a story that we've taught ourselves, and that has been taught to us, and we want to continue to believe. So, because it makes us feel comfortable, we stay in our comfort zone, and we keep reinforcing the story. Then it also got me thinking about when I look at opportunity when it comes to maybe business ventures or things like that I might want to become a part of. This is my process, how it goes. It's really wild. Hey, Robin, what's happening? I'll look at a opportunity, and whether it's on a webinar, or whether it's a recorded video, or whether it's a one-on-one, no matter what it is, or a phone call or a conference call, no matter how I get introduced to the basis of the opportunity, I usually will listen to the entire thing all the way through. By the time I'm halfway through a presentation of any kind, I've already made a decision, but I don't take action on that decision yet. And I'm going to explain to you why, because it's part of my story. It's really wild. I'm so excited that I figured this out and that this morning I can talk to you about it. I made a decision one way or the other. If the decision is I'm doing this, I'm definitely going to do this. This is definitely perfect fit for me. This is in alignment with my morals. It's in alignment with what it is I can do right now. All those different things. And I finish that, and then I'll probably not talk to the person that introduced me for a few minutes. Maybe a day. Maybe I won't respond right away when they want to know how I felt after I watched it the first time. What I'll do, though, is I will continue, only if I say yes in my mind, I will continue to watch that presentation as often as I possibly can. No matter how it is, if I know that there's going to be other conference calls, I will hop on them. I will dial in and see if that line's open and then listen in. If it's a webinar, I'll register for the next one and I'll be on it and I'll be there anonymously. If it's a pre-recorded recording where I can sit there and watch it, I will do that several times before the next 48 hours is up. And then I get in touch and I say, okay, and if I still need more reinforcing, I'll ask for third party or not. It depends. Once it's done though, in my mind, in that first 10 minutes of a presentation, when I know, nobody else knows that that's happening until I make that call and I say, let's get this done. How do I get this done? And what I realized about that was I'm not procrastinating on that. What I'm doing is I'm building my belief, because I know there's no business venture you could ever do if you don't have any belief. And at that point, when you're just being introduced, you're not familiar with the products yet. You're not sure about how the training's going to be. You don't know how this and that's going to be. So you have to have belief beyond those things before you even start. So that's why I do that. And I realized it because, especially with the last business I'll ever have to build, I went on my first overview, and that's within, I was late to it, and I watched, and then I kind of freaked out a little bit. I was like, oh my God, no way am I going to do this. Really? Am I doing this? And I already knew that I was going to do this. And then I continued to go back to the website link to see if there were overviews going. And I watched probably 4 or 5 of them before I even let the person know that I was doing it. And then I asked for third-party verification. That's crazy. And so I want you to know that there's probably people out there like that, like me. They're not procrastinating on it. They just need to build their belief, because they need to build their belief independently from all the things that you have to offer. And that's pretty crazy. So I love it. I think that's really great, because I know that when I decide to do something, I'm going for it, and I'm going to give it the best that I can. And I already have a certain level of belief that can help me move forward, and help me move forward in such a way. Hey, Joyce, you can relate to that? Okay, cool, because I wasn't sure. I know that some people in it, from this end, when I'm introducing somebody or offering or, asking or inviting or seeing if they're open, that sometimes I'm like, okay, so now let's do this. I'm ready to run, because I already feel like sometimes I've built up enough belief for all of us. But there's nothing wrong with that. So think about that when that's happening, and when you're relating yourself to opportunity. An opportunity missed, an opportunity gained. How are you building your belief? How are you reinforcing your story? Because that belief building is me reinforcing my story so that I can have better chance of success at it. Now, the rest of the success has to do with whether or not in my day am I making choices throughout the day that are going to benefit my business, or is it going to just get my dishes clean? Is it going to, is there something that, you want to go and do with your friends? Maybe it's the weekend. Maybe you want to go out and, hit the bar and have some fun, or maybe you just want to go and have a nice barbecue or something like that. And it's interfering with something that is tantamount to the future success of your life, how quickly do you make that decision? Do you make that decision like, nope, not this weekend? If I do this week, then maybe next weekend. Do you start doing that to yourself, or do you just say, you know what? I've been on that messenger all day, or I've been calling all day, I've been dialing for dollars all day, and nothing's happened. And the last webinar available is at this time, and it's only like I'd rather just be over there having a barbecue. Those kind of decisions, they're made in 5 seconds. The good ones and the bad ones. So think about that. Think about how you're reinforcing stories that you tell yourself. And sometimes how, when you are doing your thing, are you reinforcing a story that you used to tell yourself? The kind of story that you want to walk away from? Or are you reinforcing the new story that you're telling yourself? And think about that. In those 5 seconds when you're making decisions, think about what part of you is trying to reinforce a story. Is it the part that you're becoming? Or is it the part that you were? And that's a huge deal. So I hope that you enjoy this. Let me see. Over and over and over again. It's crazy. My enrollers didn't know that for a long time. They had no idea that I was doing that. I would come on and you have to, in my webinars, you have to type in your name. I was going in under fake names and just watching. So crazy. And saying, wow, I'm really going to do this. Because I wanted to see all the different ways it was offered. I wanted to see all the different kinds of people that were hosting, these kind of things for the people in that business. But yeah, crazy. So think about that from now on, guys. What story are you reinforcing when you find yourself procrastinating on a subject? What story are you reinforcing? Is it the story you want to continue to reinforce, or is it the story you don't want to reinforce at all? Keep that in mind when you're taking those 5 seconds. Sometimes those 5 seconds take too long. Sometimes the opportunity's gone, and you don't get it back. So think about that. That's how you learn. That's right. And I still sit on them. I still go to them. Because I'm always ready for that person that said they were going to be there. Are they going to be there? So that's what I want to talk about today. I'm going to finish up. I literally haven't had but that one sip of coffee you saw. And it's time for me to get my day going. But I couldn't wait another 5 seconds to broadcast to help people understand what procrastination is and why we have it and what it serves. And all it does is builds the story. And it's up to you. If you want to change your story, start changing your story. That's what I have to say. Thank you so much, Joyce, for coming. And thank you, Robin, for coming. And thank everybody for coming. And I appreciate you. If you got value from this, go ahead. Share it to the world. I love it. And so, there you go. Off for coffee. Bye.